anywhere, hey, anytime. Tell me how come I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore. I cover boxing. I am what I call the new wave of reporters. There's something different that people are craving. If you notice, kids don't play outside anymore. They don't read shit. They don't really do math, because if you got your phone, you can just Google the math problem. Can you not? Today, whatever, we're going to talk about some boxing. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live, December the 6th, 2014, 9:23 Eastern Standard Time PM. I don't sleep much. And the reason why I don't sleep much is because I enjoy the sweet science. I am not just a guy that get up here and just talk about boxing and it doesn't put the time in to watch the footage, the tapes. Just like the trainers do, just like the scouts do. They don't go to every gym and watch. They get the tapes and they watch the tapes like, oh, I like that guy. That's what I do. So what I'm saying is, it's kind of hard to go against a guy who watches every single and covers every single major fight live for the last 4 years. Amir Khan, my bad, I'm trying to turn the TV off. It's a little too bright. Amir Khan, I've been covering him since Marcos Maidana, I believe. Marcos Maidana. I've known. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. When I see Amir Khan, for some reason, honestly, every time I think of Amir Khan, I picture a bunch of broken dishes. Like, I picture Thanksgiving, and I picture someone picking up the dish. I don't know what's in it. It's gravy. I don't know. Maybe some couscous. I don't know. But then I see in slow motion that the dish drops and hit the floor and breaks and shatters. That's what I see when I see Amir Khan. For some reason, I don't know. I know it's bizarre. I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't been sleeping. I don't know. But if you don't know, I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live with Real Combat Media, and I cover boxing. Today, I had the pleasure of going to Bernard Hopkins versus Sergey Kovalev, the final press conference. I'm going to talk about that later. That video is going to be uploaded. It should be finished uploading. Oh, excuse me. You got to bear with me. You got to bear with me. Sometimes when I do these videos live, you just don't understand. You just don't understand. You just don't understand. So, getting back to what I was saying. Let my lungs clear up. Get some water. Get some water. Be right back. We're live. I know people. It's gonna be some people that's gonna be bitching. It's gonna be like, well, why? God. Alright, see? You know, that'd be cool. Cool now. Amir Khan is a good boxer. 29-3. He's been knocked out twice with 19 knockouts. Look at his most notable fights. His first knockout, devastating loss to Breedis Prescott. That very tough fight with Marcos Maidana. Before I move on any further, do I believe that this Amir Khan can defeat this Marcos Maidana 4 years later? No. That's just my opinion. Don't judge me. I say no. We're going to get to that. You got Zab Judah. Okay, Zab Judah was on some shit. Remember when Zab Judah, I forgot what it was. I don't know if it was a left hook or a right hook to the body. Zab Judah went down. Zab Judah then got up and was basically talking to the ref like, yo, why you stopped the fight? Like, I thought Basically, Zab Judah thought that he got hit low or whatever that case may be, but it was a bizarre ending to the fight. But Zab Judah was losing. So you go on to Lamont Peterson. I'm not going in order, I know. You go to Lamont Peterson. Even though Lamont Peterson was on the PED pellets, and I know he was on the PED pellets, so there's no reason why I should give him any credit. But what I'm saying is, Amir Khan has always been awkward on the back foot. When it comes to pressure fighters, Amir Khan is not graceful when evading. The way Erislandy Lara did it against Saul Canelo Alvarez, he did it and it made it look like it was running. Floyd Mayweather doesn't run. Floyd Mayweather he'll engage with you, and stick in there for a little while. Then he'll move around, change ankles, things like that. But the way he does it, it doesn't look like it's running. And it's not running because he is making the fight, but he's too good to know that if he engages with you, he's not going to get hit. To whereas in a guy like Erislandy Lara, jab, jab, left hand, he's worried about, okay, let me make sure I don't get caught in there. Because he doesn't have the head movement and all that, to make sure he doesn't get caught. And I'm talking about not on the Floyd Mayweather level. So what I'm saying is that put Amir Khan up against a pressure fighter, somebody's going to crowd his space and really, really come at him. And I'm not talking about a Luis Collazo. Amir Khan is going to have some problems. And you know why? It's because I can only go by the track record, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I can go by. The best he's looked since Zab Judah, who was that in 2011, was against Luis Collazo. So for some reason, remember they had the poll for who would we want Floyd Mayweather to fight, Marcos Maidana or Amir Khan. We know Marcos Maidana was coming off the win and winning a championship from Adrian "The Problem" Broner in the biggest fight of 2013. As far as upset, honestly, was that the biggest fight of 2013? I'm trying to think. Now, I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about like the impact of it. But let me move on. Amir Khan decided after Carlos Molina and Julio Diaz that he was going to sit out and not fight Devin Alexander, who was a champion, because he didn't want to risk getting hurt or, more importantly, losing and then not getting a shot at Floyd Mayweather. So what happens? Marcos Maidana gets the shot. Amir Khan ends up looking like an asshole. I feel that he's one of those fighters that feels that he's entitled, that he's owed something and he hasn't done anything. When I read all those articles and watch all those interviews and everything, because it's literally my job, I'm thinking like, who does this guy think he is? Fighting Devin Alexander? Okay, why? In my opinion, even though Devin Alexander 26-2 with 14 KOs. Even though, if you look at his career, when it came to Timothy Bradley, a hype, built up fight, nasty, so ugly, he lost the fight. But it was controversy around that fight to the point where it should have been a rematch. Juan Urango, if you look at Lucas Martin Matisse, when it was in Devin Alexander's home of all places, and I think Matisse may have gotten, it should have been a draw with Matisse by 1 point, but that's my personal opinion. Remember, go back and watch that fight. I didn't have Alexander winning. Just my opinion. Now, if you look at Randall Bailey was coming off that crazy uppercut Mike Jones, where he Shang Tsung Mike Jones and just took his whole soul. Mike Jones, where's he been? I know he was on some undercard somewhere like a few weeks ago. But like, really, where has he been? He been the same since Randall Bailey. So he beat Randall Bailey, who was the knockout artist, and that meant, remember, follow that. And then, who else? Lee Purdy. Okay, now, you may not know who Lee Purdy is. I cover international boxing, so I can say at that time, Lee Purdy had done enough to get a title shot. Just like against Amir Khan, Paul McCloskey had done enough at that point in time on his level to get a title shot, whether it was mandatory or not. You know, and that's just what I know. But when you look at, okay, after Lee Purdy, who was after Lee Purdy? Who was after Lee Purdy? I know Soto Karass was his last fight. Damn, see, I'm getting lost. Well, anyway, I'm going to move on. I'm going to say, when he lost to Sean Porter, it seems as though to me that defining Devin Alexander is that he has some trouble with pressure fighters. He's a southpaw. But if you look at Amir Khan has trouble with pressure fighters as well. But remember, Devin Alexander can box. When Devin Alexander is not under pressure, Devin Alexander can box. So I'm thinking to myself, now, what's the scenario? Devin Alexander never been knocked out. Amir Khan's been knocked out twice and been down multiple times, like numerous, voluminous times. So when I look at the matchup, I think, okay, all right. Amir Khan may have the faster hands in an edge, but what we've learned from Amir Khan is all you got to do is catch him with just one more. What was that, Lincoln Park? Anyway, all you got to do is catch him with just one. He's going up against a southpaw. The last southpaw he faced was Zab Judah. All it takes is just one. And I understand. Listen, I teach Street Controversy. I am in touch with international boxing. And I am in touch with different cultures. I understand. Just like when it comes to Al Heyman's plan, there's a part of me, and this is the type of stuff you can't say if you work for a network or whatever the case may be. And that's why I love being an entrepreneur. I can understand, like, there's a part of me that wants Al Heyman to succeed because he's a black man. But at the same time, I'm not a dickhead, and me loving the sport of boxing knows what he's doing ain't right. So I can understand the people of the UK that are rooting for Amir Khan. I can understand the Pakistanis that are rooting for Amir Khan. I can understand the people of Dubai, because for some reason he always been trying to get a fight in Dubai. I can understand. But what I'm saying is this: if you look at the resume and if you look at what's happened to him over the last 4 years, how does he deserve a Mayweather shot over Keith Thurman? If you really, really think about it. They tried to make us think that Luis Collazo was enough. I wasn't having it. And I'm telling you right now, in a way, the Devin Alexander fight is good for him, but the way I'm thinking, the way I view Amir Khan is, he look at Devin Alexander like, oh, Sean Porter beat him, so now I can beat him. He's like, why didn't you fight him before? Now Kell Brook got the belt you were supposed to have, or you thought you were supposed to have. What if you win? That was going to be a belt that you were supposed to have. Like, listen. Yeah, we know. Thank you, Al Heyman. Thank you so much. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. We know that his advisor, the man that doesn't want to be called a manager, his advisor, that's a brand new position in the sport of boxing. That's it. That's strictly Al Heyman. Like, if it was a position, I would want to be an advisor. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to be an advisor. I'm not going to be, because an advisor, you a manager, a promoter, you the actual fighter himself, because you, like, listen, if anything you should be in boxing, you should be an advisor, because you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. So you have to understand that Amir Khan is advised by Al Heyman. Al Heyman know about that chin. Al Heyman know about Adrian Broner. Like right now, Adrian Broner is good, and one thing about Adrian Broner is he not no punk ass dude. Like, he will fight anybody, even though we know, like, his handlers might as well call him. I'm like, okay, all right. We know Adrian Broner would love to fight a Matisse, a Marquez, or Manny Pacquiao, and here going there really thinking he's gonna win. But his handlers know, like, nah, you know, okay, you may win, but you know there's a good chance you're gonna get fucked up. You get where I'm going with it? Al Heyman knows about the chin of Amir Khan. There was a date in the Barclays Center December the 13th, 2014, that had to be filled. Showtime executive, the guy who runs Showtime Sports in general, Showtime Boxing, Steven Espinoza, he has a job to make sure Showtime continuously gain subscribers, people who pay for Showtime every month, and also view Showtime and get caught on to other shows that are on Showtime from boxing, basically to sustain the boxer. To sustain the boxing audience. He has to consistently put on good fights. Somebody had to be expendable in the Al Heyman stable. So Amir Khan's in a situation where I feel there's a good chance he can lose. We're looking at the fact that, Amir Khan gonna win because he got to fight Mayweather. That's what it is. He's got to fight Mayweather in May. But what if he lose? Fans are not going to support Devin Alexander, not right now. Now, this fight is important because there's a wild card, and it all depends on how the fighter wins. We would have never thought that Marcos Maidana would go on to fight Floyd Mayweather after defeating Adrian Broner the way he did. If Devin Alexander knocks Amir Khan out, and if there's multiple knockdowns in the fight, almost like a Rocky 1 or a Rocky 2 type of story, then maybe just like Andre Berto versus Victor Ortiz, that can carry him in to a Mayweather fight. Maybe like Robert Guerrero versus Celso Gaidin, and then Andre Berto can carry him in to a Mayweather fight. But it all depends. Like if that fight is just a boxing exhibition, if it's not exciting, if it's not a fight where fans are going to be like, like if it's not a fight that fans are going to be buzzing about the day later, the day after, then how are we to believe that they should go on to fight Mayweather? And you got to understand, this is the pedestal that Floyd Mayweather put himself on. You can say whatever you want about Pacquiao and Chris Algieri, because I know that Al Heyman fighters don't fight top-ranked fighters or don't fight HBO fighters, period. That's where you got guys like Peter Quillen and Deontay Wilder and Keith Thurman walking away of all his money because, oh shit, they might try to make his fight on HBO. And our advisor is not cool with that. Victor Postol, Danny Garcia, stay away from Al Heyman stays away from HBO. Any way he can, he stays away from HBO. I'm not an Amir Khan hater. I just want him to do something else. You gotta look at the resume, and you gotta look at the fights, and you gotta ask yourself, what has he really, really done? We know, and if you're a businessman, you should know that if you got a guy like Amir Khan, you sign Amir Khan today, you know that you can get some money out of him, but you think to yourself like, okay, all right, I bet he get some money out of him, but let me keep him away from certain power punchers. Now that's me thinking as a promoter that I want to be in the future. Because I'm just hypothetically looking, if I sign a guy think about it. Let's play Monopoly, like with boxers. If I was to sign Amir Khan and then two other fighters that are lower as far as if I was to sign an Amir Khan, Devin Alexander, and let's say a John Molina, I know that I can get the most money out of Amir Khan, but at the same time, I gotta make sure I match him in fights where he can't get knocked out, but fans look at the fact that maybe he can't. So things have never gone to plan with Amir Khan. Remember, Floyd Mayweather's been trying to fight this guy for like 4 years now. Don't forget that. And Amir Khan, when it came to Julio Diaz, when it came to him getting knocked out by Danny Garcia, and then after Danny Garcia, he was supposed to fight Floyd Mayweather. After Julio Diaz, he was supposed to fight Floyd Mayweather. You see where I'm going with this? After Luis Collazo, even though he had a good performance, it wasn't enough. Marcos Maidana outshined him, even though he beat Maidana. I'm not going to keep going on about this. I feel that my point is valid. This is not just some sleep-deprived insomnia dude talking. I watch a lot of Amir Khan fights. Been watching a lot of fights, period. And what I see, he still has some things to prove to us. Now, him fighting a southpaw that has 14 knockouts, some power, maybe that can be enough to convince me. But remember, all this is just my opinion alone. I'm Teaching Controversy. This is Teaching Controversy Live with Real Combat Media, and I cover boxing. I cover every single major fight live. Now I'm doing interviews, press conferences, fights, post-fight conferences, all that stuff of what was asked of me. Please subscribe.